Every video and episode of the It's Cavalier podcast is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoy the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos, podcasts, member shoutouts, and more. And as always, thank you for watching.
Everyone's seen it. It's face guard forcing everything down into like the paint area, picking me up right when the ball goes through the net. They picking me up, but I like it. I like it a lot, actually.
Is there a way you can use all of that against them?
Really, yeah. That's why I like it. It should be it's really not a good defense to play. As long as we can expose it, in which we can, there's ways to do it. And that's what we kind of worked on today, and just figuring out different ways to kind of loosen up their defense a little bit, but also understanding what they're doing and how we can expose that without really doing.
You tried. The Miami Heat certainly tried. I will give them that. Welcome to another edition of the It's Cavalier podcast. It's your boy Mac. And our Cleveland Cavaliers took on the Miami Heat in Game 4, which represented a chance to do multiple things. Number one, sweep the competition, which in the context of this very series would be a first in numerous regards. Number one, it would be the first time in playoff history that the Cavs swept the Heat. Number two, it would be the first sweep of the Kenny Atkinson era, the first sweep of Kenny Atkinson's playoff career, in my opinion. Number three, it would be the first sweep since 2018. It's been a magical ride, ladies and gentlemen. And the Cavaliers were out for blood in this one as they drilled 11 of their first 18 shots, taking a 30-8 lead with 3 minutes and 37 seconds left in the first. And let me tell you, while the whole team came out firing on all cylinders, tonight was truly Jarrett Allen's night. This man got the game kicked off. You already knew it was about to be some shit popping off when Jarrett Allen starts the game off with a steal and then a slam. Within that same span of time that I mentioned, Jarrett Allen had already totaled 10 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 steals. We'll talk about that a little bit more. 3 of 3 from the field, 4 of 4 from the charity stripe. This man was two-way dominance personified, truly. Just absolutely locked the fuck in tonight. And mind you, it ain't like Evan Mobley wasn't out there. That has routinely been something that has coincided with many of Jarrett Allen's best games throughout the years. This was just flat out dominance. And according to Cavs notes, Jarrett Allen's 4 steals during that span of time in the first quarter were the most by any Cavalier since 2002. Moreover, he became the first player, not just Cavalier, first player to record at least 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 steals in any quarter of a playoff game since 2002. And he's the first player since 1997-98 to record 10 points, 10 rebounds, and at least 5 steals in any half of the playoffs. Insane. He was just flat out brilliant. And as much as I would like to just single out Jarrett Allen's performance as being the solely dominant one of the night, this was a collective domination. The Cavaliers won by 55 points. I don't know if I have seen a domination like that in I just don't know. I don't even know during the LeBron era if I had ever seen domination from start to finish in that way. I guess LeBron comes close with the way that they've been able to beat during the LeBron James era in Cleveland, the way that in which they were able to dismantle Toronto time and time again. But this singular performance, this just had special written all over it. It truly did. And it wasn't just Jarrett Allen, right? Donovan Mitchell was also phenomenal, especially in that first quarter where he led all scorers with 13 points. DeAndre Hunter was absolutely phenomenal off the bench, just providing a spark that we all know why the Cavaliers acquired him to do. And speaking of DeAndre Hunter, let's take a look at the type of night that this man had. If you look at what Hunter was able to do tonight for the Cleveland Cavaliers, this man was just absolutely special on his way to 19 points on 6 of 11 from the field, including 3 of 4 from three-point range and 4 of 5 from the charity stripe, and just 20 minutes of action. I really could not believe some of the shots that this man was hitting, whether that be driving into that mid-range area, whether that be from beyond the arc, or whether that be right up at the rim in the interior of the Miami Heat defense. And what do we know what happened in the game 3 dominance that was the Cleveland Cavaliers game 3 victory over the Miami Heat? The Cavaliers basically they came in with the same plan of attack, man. 46 points of the paint to Miami's 40. They just absolutely put belt to ass in this one, and it resulted in a 55-point victory. They were efficient as hell. They came in with the best offensive rating in the playoffs with a 133 offensive rating in the playoffs. That's just insane efficiency. They shot 54.7% from the field, including 46.8% from three-point distance and 88% from the charity stripe. And had they not pulled their starters after Miami kind of just waved the white flag and Kenny Atkinson kind of had mercy on them over there, this could have been even worse. This had the feel of a game where the Cavaliers probably could have scored 200 points if they wanted to. It was just absolutely insane. And again, it was not just 1 to 2 players. It was the entirety of the team, whether you want to talk about Ty Jerome in his minutes off the bench, whether you want to talk about DeAndre Hunter, whether you want to talk about Jarrett Allen, whether you want to talk about Evan Mobley doing what he does, rim rolling, hitting shots from the outside, looking like that floor stretching presence that we all knew that he was capable of becoming. It was domination, man. Flat out domination. You pick your poison. The Cavaliers ended up knocking down 22 triples today. 22 triples on, I repeat, 46.8% from three-point range. Now, mind you, the Cavaliers already had one of the 6th highest three-point totals in playoff history when they knocked down 22 in game 2, if I'm not mistaken. When they defeated Miami 121-112, they knocked down 22 in that one. So this ties the 6th highest total in playoff history for that. And they probably could have beaten that record in its entirety as the Milwaukee Bucks hold that record with 25 triples back against the Miami Heat. Go figure, back against the Miami Heat in 2023. Miami I guess they not a good team to defend that 3-point shot come the postseason. But man, I could not believe the level of efficiency. I could not believe how dominant Cleveland was in this one. And it was from start to finish. And it was good omens throughout as Jarrett Allen literally got things kicked off with that steal and that slam. And if this man has proven anything, it's that the lights are no longer too bright, as he just absolutely dismantled them from start to finish. And he only played 25 minutes of action. If you want to take a look at what Jarrett Allen's stat sheet looks like tonight, look no further than here. 14 points, 12 boards, 2 assists, 6 steals. That is insane. That is insane to me. 5 of 5 from the field. So a perfect night in that regard. 4 of 4 from the charity stripe. And guys, he did this in just 25 minutes of action. They had no answer for him, whether it was Khalil Ware, whether it was Bam Adebayo. There was nobody that could stop this man tonight. And you know what? When the Cavaliers allow Jarrett Allen to do his thing, when they get him the ball, when they get him those touches in that painted area, or if he's just rim rolling, or if he's operating out of the pick and roll with Strus or Don or Ty or Merrill or anybody else out there, or if he's operating in DHO, something that we have seen him and Strus become very, very dependable at executing. This man will usually deliver. no matter the level of competition. And that is exactly what has happened in these last couple of games. Jarrett Allen, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And in a game where he does this, and he is just absolutely brilliant on his way to a game high plus 42. It wasn't solely him to be able to have all of these stellar performances all wrapped into a series, a game that seals the series for the Cavaliers. That is just awesome to me. I mean, I really can't even put into words how proud I am of this team responding without Darius Garland out there for the second straight night. And after all the back and forth that's been going on in the media between Tyler Herro and others, it's been nice. And speaking of Tyler Herro, I never want to hear another word about the Cavaliers come out of this man's mouth. Look at his night. Tyler Herro versus the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. 4 measly points, 4 punk-ass points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, no steals. I forgot to take that off. 1 of 10 from the field. That is 10%. This motherfucker shot 10% from the field, including 1 of 9 from three-point distance. That is 11.1%. He could not hit shit, and he played a full complement of minutes. He was still out there when the Cavaliers starters were pulled. 4 points? You got the audacity to talk the shit that you've been talking about the Cavaliers defense, talking about how much you love it. Well, man, you must have really loved it because you got absolutely shut down in this one. Holy moly. Never speak on the Cavaliers again, Tyler Herro. Heat culture, ladies and gentlemen. Man, oh man. And after this game, Tyler is probably not going to say shit. You're not going to get much, if anything at all, from Miami Heat fans instead of the obligatory, oh, wait until you see Boston, when you already knew that was coming from many of these teams or from many of these fan bases wanting to talk down about this team's chances of beating an opponent when they've already basically given up. And I saw the look of defeat on the fans. And mind you, this came on their home courts. This ass whooping, this beat down, this came on their home court, not at home. Because a lot of people are saying the Cavaliers would not carry over into, on the road when they've been the best road shooting team all season long. And they absolutely went to Miami and they snatched the chains. They made it their home court. And this was just such a dominant performance that I don't think anybody expected. And let me tell you, man, 55 points in a game 4 victory. I knew that they were going to sweep tonight. I didn't think it would be by this. I did not think it would be like this. I did not think that they would play this terribly. When I say they, I'm talking about the Miami Heat. I did not think that they would be this terrible because that, my friends, is what they were. They were flat out terrible as they shot a collective 36% from the field, including 10 of 49 from three-point range. My friends, that is 20.4%. They were ass. They were terrible. Again, Tyler Herro, 1 of 10 from the field, 1 of 9 from three-point range. Davion Mitchell, 3 of 9 from the field, 1 of 5 from three-point range. Bam Adebayo, 6 of 13, held to just 13 points. He was active on the glass. I'll give him that. 12 rebounds, but he is not anywhere near the amount of the offensive hub that you would need him to be if Tyler Herro does not have it going. And if Andrew Wiggins, who has really struggled in this series, was held to just 12 points on 5 of 12 from the field, including 2 of 6 from three-point range. When those two other guys are not stepping up, you will not win against this Cavaliers team. You just won't. You need some of these other pieces to step up, especially when Tyler is giving Cleveland bulletin board material by just yapping his life away. And you know what? He got sent packing. It's time for him to go to Cancun. And I could not be any more excited about what we got to see him. Now, we obviously got to wait to see who the Cavaliers' round 2 opponent will be. Many speculate that it will be the Indiana Pacers as they are up 3-1 overall against the Milwaukee Bucks. And I don't want to assume anything. I do believe it will be Indiana, which should be a interesting series because this is going to be a clash between two teams that, from a stylistic standpoint, there are a lot of contrasts. Indiana has been the number one team in the playoffs in terms of that mid-range shot. So you got to be able to stop that. They also have been very, very good at shooting that three-point shot. And they put up a lot of points, and they're very efficient at doing so. At least they have been during this postseason. Now, time will tell what ends up happening with the Milwaukee Indiana series, but that, to me, that's going to be a lot tougher than this Miami team, especially considering that they have that physicality. We've seen what they've done with the full court press during the regular season, in which they beat Cleveland 3 out of the 4 times that the two played. Now, I know one of them went to, what was it, double or triple overtime against the Indiana Pacers, where we were playing our like C team, and you can take whatever you want from that loss, but at the end of the day, the Indiana Pacers will be a tougher matchup for the Cleveland Cavaliers than the Miami Heat were. And I'll tell you this, man. I could not be any prouder of what I have seen from this team. It just feels like the heavens are opening up and the path is right there for Cleveland's taking. Boston does not look nearly as unbeatable as they did last year. They've been struggling with the physicality of the Orlando Magic series. Who knows what the hell's going to happen between Detroit and New York, although New York leads that series. But on this side of the bracket, we remain patient as we wait for 6 p.m. tomorrow as of recording this, as that is when Game 5 will take place between the Bucks and the Pacers, to find out who the opponent that the Cavaliers will have in the second round. But man, this is just pure dominance. Like I want to hone in on one singular aspect of this game, but frankly, I can't. Take your pick. The 3-point shooting, again, 22 of 47. That's 46.8%, 54.7% on 47 made field goals. They doled out 26 assists. They forced 19 turnovers on Miami's part, and they only managed to turn the ball over on their side of town 11 times. So they're very judicious with that basketball. They were very careful with the basketball. Nobody had more than 2 turnovers tonight for Cleveland. As when you look over at the Miami side of things, and they had at least 3 to 4 players with at least 3 turnovers. So many turnovers. Jarrett Allen was just a thief out there tonight, but numerous Cavaliers had steals. 15 total steals for Cleveland tonight. The battle of the boards, as Jarrett Allen led the way for Cleveland with 12 boards. The Cavaliers won that battle 55-50. And again, this could have been much worse had the white flag not been waved and Cleveland did not pull its starters. But we knew that Cleveland was all business. We knew that they were going to go out there and look to take care of things. So they got some rest, because that's important. When you already have Darius Garland out, and you need to be able to play your rotation players in the playoffs for as minimal minutes as you can. You want to make sure that you're taking care of these guys, and you want to make sure you handle your business early so that you don't put anybody in a position to injure themselves. Because we've seen it happen time and time again. Hell, we just saw Damian Lillard tear his Achilles. It can happen on any play. It can happen in any quarter, and it can happen even when you're winning. So in order for this team to put itself in the best possible position, they had to go out there and execute. They had to take care of their business early, and that's exactly what they did. And you could see that was the game plan from start to finish. Kenny Atkinson had these guys playing as if every single possession mattered, right? As if they were losing, as if they were the team that was down three games to none. That was the level of intensity that they played on the defensive end all night long. That was the level of urgency that they played with all game long. And that's commendable. And what have I said this season time and time again? Even in trap games, this team tends to play at a very, very high level, levels that you just don't see from other teams. And would I consider this a trap game? No, obviously it's a playoff game. But you're up 3 games to none. Miami's at home. If there was a game where their backs are against the wall, you would expect them to play better than they did. This could have been that game. And you know what? Cleveland went out there and they stepped on their damn necks. That's what happened. And I could not be any happier about the result of that, especially with all the bulletin board material that was flying around out there. So Glad to have this one locked up. And when I previewed this series, I was originally of the mindset that Cleveland would at least lose one game. I thought maybe, just maybe, Miami would steal one game. And you know what? The level of intensity, the competitive nature of the Heat culture, which is now dead, in my opinion, it was there in games 1 and 2. Not so much in game 3 and game 4, though. It was just after they got annihilated in game 3, it just felt like their spirit was broken. It was like the moment in The Dark Knight Rises where Bane picks up Batman and breaks his back. You could just see it wasn't just a physical break. He was mentally broken at that point and had to be put back together in the third act of that movie. And you know what? There is no third act. There is no third act for the Miami Heat. It's over. They're broken. They're done. And you love to see that, especially when there's so much shit talking flying around out there. And all the people, and I'll say this one last time, I will not say it again after I say it tonight. All the people that were in here chirping, all the Miami Heat fans, they've been absent. They've been silent. They have been crickets. Nothing has been said. So I hope this team, despite this coming against, the 8th seeded Miami Heat, I hope this gives the Cavaliers a little bit more respect in the terms of the rest of the league. Because Cleveland, just like the Oklahoma City Thunder, the only teams to sweep their opponent in the first round. Now we'll have to see what happens with Indiana and Milwaukee, but I have confidence. I have major confidence that this team is going to be just as effective against those Indiana Pacers. But again, remember, they hold a 3-1 record against the Cavaliers during the regular season. So it should be a little bit more intense than what we just got against the Heat, as they can offer a different level of intensity from a physicality standpoint. And we know how well they execute that full court press. They've been excellent in the mid-range. They can shoot that 3-point shot. And Tyrese Halliburton and company are not going to go down like Miami just did. Time to hop into the chat. William Hooper says, well, I could say that I didn't expect that. Neither did I, man. Anytime a team in a playoff environment wins by 50 plus points, I don't think anybody expects that. We saw OKC kind of, put the pause on the Memphis Grizzlies earlier on in their series where they absolutely dominated. I think it was game 1. Maybe it was game 2. I can't remember specifically, but this was very reminiscent of that. D. Jackson says this game was over in the first quarter. If you ask me, it was like 38-30. Shaking my head, the Heat never stood a chance from the beginning. They really didn't. Cleveland meant business, and that was apparent from the first possession, from tip-off of this game, as Jarrett would steal that ball and slam it home. Jalen times 100 says, sweep. Absolutely. HJ17 Gamer says, I knew they would win, but not by 55. Yeah, that was just ridiculous, man. D. Jackson says 55-point win is really insane. My question is, what is the Heat organization thinking right now? Shaking my head, Pat Riley. And this was a sad performance from the Heat. Obviously, there are going to be some changes made. They're going to take a long, hard look at this roster and make some changes. I don't think anybody truly is safe, maybe outside of Bam and I guess Tyler, but this was a terrible performance from Tyler Herro, who was once again 1 of 10 from the field tonight, including 1 of 9 from 3-point range. You cannot have that type of production from one of your franchise players in a closeout game in a series. You just cannot have that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's Michael Jordan out there. That was a terrible performance from one of your stars. And he ought to be ashamed of himself. Seriously, he ought to be ashamed of himself for the way that that he went out there and performed tonight. Richard Smith says it was actually a perfect defense. It truly was. Truly was. Blondie20 says, what's your thoughts on Cavs v Pacers? I think I've probably already said it a few times, but they are really, really, really good in that mid-range area. They have a number of players who are capable of pulling up from that distance, whether that be Halliburton or whether that be Siakam. TJ McConnell's actually weirdly been very efficient with that shot. They have a number of players that can knock down the 3-point shot. They they have at least 4 or 5 players in the top 50 during the regular season and catch and shoot. And that's due to the fact that Tyrese Halliburton and TJ McConnell and a couple of others are really good at that drive and kick, as Tyler Herro and Davion Mitchell were in this series. But ultimately, I believe that Cleveland is probably going to have to try to play some sort of combination defense. It's going to be some man, I think some zone. They may even want to look at a box and one, depending upon who's hot in that series. If you want to operate with a box and one against Tyrese Halliburton, I don't know. There's a couple of different things that I would probably look to throw out there if I'm Kenny Atkinson, but I don't think you really have to adjust too much in regards to what you've been doing all season long. I think what beat Cleveland in those very competitive games earlier on in the season was the full court press. If they can find a way to get around that physicality that Indiana typically employs, and this is going to be in a playoff environment, so we have seen teams be officiated much differently already. Hell, look no further than Game 4 of the Knicks and Pistons series, where that game probably should have been decided a different way, in which Tim Hardaway Jr. was fouled on a 3-point opportunity, and that was not called, and it should have been. And they were just fouling each other left and right, and nothing was being called. And so you can only imagine what Indiana is probably going to try and do against a Cleveland backcourt that they've already gotten away with doing so in the regular season. So that full court press is probably going to be something that they throw at Cleveland that they're going to have to get over, but we'll see. LeSmooch says Halliburton, Tim Burton, Smelly Burton don't matter. Cavs and foe. Leonardo T says, from the first J.A. steal and dunk, I knew it was raps. I did too, man. Shory B3 says this was worse than Lebronto and Labranta combined. Yeah, I mean, this was pure belt to assery. This BTA, belt to ass. That's exactly what it was. Dr. Claus 77 says, Jarrett Allen said, fuck them lights. That's exactly what he said. Listen, this is back-to-back series in which Jarrett Allen has been phenomenal. I mean, before he got taken out by the Wagners in Game 4 of the Orlando series, Jarrett Allen was off to the races in terms of production. He was killing the likes of the boards out there, pulling down everything in sight, and he was very, very efficient. And he was probably the Cavaliers' best player in that in those 4 games that he was available for before being taken out. And now in this series, turned in another excellent performance. I mean, this is a man that the Cavaliers have had under contract for a while now on a really, really team-friendly deal, and he has really made it feel like a bargain contract, honestly, since he has been acquired by this team. He's turned in numerous all-star caliber seasons, and that has continued with his play in back-to-back postseasons. And I mean, so the people that wanted to trade Jarrett Allen this offseason, I just don't – I don't know what you were thinking. Clearly, Jarrett Allen is playing like a man possessed out there. Provided number 1 says ass whooping for real. Truly was. J Quest says smash that like button. Do as he says, man. You guys never know how much you help your boy out when you decide to do that. By the way, if you're listening or watching over on Twitter, do your boy a favor, head over to YouTube and hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber to the It's Cavalier podcast. Dr. Claus says, man, OKK sold. That was a 60-point ass whooping with them bricks. Wish they were Jalen hitting those threes. Yeah. I thought that this one was probably going to go 60 plus, but the bench mob, a couple on the bench couldn't pull it home, and that sucks to see. But you know what? I'll live with it. Sweep. Josh Sawyer says, I called it after game 2. We will get a sweep. And someone said I was crazy. I think that what happened was they were going to their home court, right? Game 3 is typically viewed as a swing game because, one, they're going typically the opponent is going back to their home court, right? And so if you're going to give them an opportunity to win a game, if you're going to let something happen, that is typically when it happens. And in a game 3 where or a game 4 rather, when their backs are against the wall, you think that they probably would have put out a better performance than they did, but nah, man, they just looked lifeless. Again, they were broken from a mental standpoint from the jump, and that occurred in game 3 on their home court. That is when their spirits were broken. And so, yeah, the sweep was imminent, rather. LeSmooch says, we out-meated SGA once again. Biggest blowout in playoff history. This shit is ridiculous, man. Just absolutely ridiculous performance that this Cavalier team put out there from start to finish from a collective standpoint too. It wasn't like a 60-point performance from a Donovan Mitchell or something like that, or Evan Mobley dropping 40 points. It was literally the entire team, as you just had numerous performances. I mean, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different Cavaliers, including Javonte Green, after he was inserted, that scored in double figures. It was just belt to assery. That is exactly what happened. And yeah, how can you not love that? Spirit says, I can't believe what I just watched. Let's fucking go. Josh Slater says, I yelled at my TV for Miami coach to throw in the damn towel. Yeah, like like Rocky 4 when Apollo is being absolutely murdered by Dolph Lundgren. It's just throw the damn towel, right? That's obviously not what happened, as he decided to keep some of Miami starters out there probably longer than he should have. Jay Quest says 2016 vibes, but this is a more complete team. This might be the most complete team in team history. I think it is. I don't want to say it. I almost did it again. This is the most complete team in franchise history. And you know what? It's not flawless. There are still flaws. The flaws are just hidden very well. The team is still undersized in the backcourt, but they make up for it with the defense and the backline of defense from Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. And slowly but surely, Donovan Mitchell has gotten back to the high caliber defense that we know that he is capable of. And Darius Garland is no longer a scrub in terms of perimeter defense. He has held his own despite what Miami Heat fans would have you believe. Talking to Grubman Media says, what's up, Mac? Cavs didn't get distracted by the bright lights and women of South Beach, treated it like a business trip and completed the sweep on to the next round versus the Pacers. I love that, man. I absolutely love that, because there are times throughout this new era, right, where you could see a loss coming from a mile away. This was not one of those. And Kenny Atkinson has been very, very good at having this team executing from tip off, right? Sometimes they'll go through their lulls where they'll be up large, and then they'll let a team back into it. We've seen that happen from time and time again this season, but they usually have closed out teams when they needed to. And that's exactly what they've done in this series in its entirety. They've closed this Miami Heat team out in exciting ways. D Jackson says, what Herro gonna say now? You let me know, Mac. I mean, I started the episode off with the Tyler Herro clip, and I don't think he's going to say anything else unless that's been the case since we've been in here. Spirit says we only beat Pacers once this season. Yeah, they are 3-1 against Cleveland, but one of those wins was coming in the final game of the season where the game went to like double or triple overtime. Remember, so take that one with kind of a grain of salt. Blondie 20 says now we got to deal with the Pacers fans. I'm not so worried about Indiana fans, just because they actually have a reason to believe that their team has a chance, at least a chance. The Pacers could very well take the Cavaliers to 6 games. They are a respectable team, and they do have reason to believe that they can beat Cleveland because they have done it this season. But still, I still believe Cleveland ends up winning. Jordan React says, hopefully Darius is good and it's not too serious. What's your opinion? I think that Darius is going to be just fine. For the people that were like whining about Darius Garland, and I'm not talking about you, Jordan, but the people that were whining about Darius sitting in back-to-back games, it's a marathon, not a sprint. That's what I need people to understand. Regardless of all the shit talk that was occurring between Herro and Garland and fans and whatnot, it's a marathon. They don't, at the end of the day, they did not give a damn about the Miami Heat. That is not the goal. The goal was not simply just to beat the Miami Heat and call it a season. It's to win a title. So keep the man as healthy as you can. If you can afford to sit him in games as big as a closeout game, right? A game that would decide whether or not you sweep the Heat or not, you can do it. And the Cavaliers have been so good this postseason that they have been able to afford Darius Garland extra rest days. And now he will get even more as we await the second round. So I'm not worried. We'll have to see what Kenny Atkinson decides to do, because I highly doubt that he sits game one, but it's not set in stone. So we'll see. D Jackson says, I know Eric Spoelstra is mad as fuck right now. I would be too. That was piss poor. That was not the Miami Heat that we had become accustomed to seeing over the last couple of years. At least they scratch and claw and fight their way back into games. But that was just, the towel was thrown. They looked just mentally defeated. The composure was gone. You could see it in Tyler Herro's on court presence out there. He was out there pushing people and just getting mad. And again, he would finish with just 4 points. So I understand why he was mad. But man, when you're talking mad shit like that and you don't back it up, I don't know what to tell you. Talking to Grubman Media says, Mac, do you think DJ will be back in time for game one of the Eastern semis? Yeah, I think so. I think so. Sebastian Ramon says, how's that for not a good defense, Tyler? I hope he lives with it, because this is going to be a game that Tyler Herro remembers. Hell, this is going to be a series that Tyler Herro remembers for the rest of his life. This is going to haunt him. The way that they got smacked, the way that they got swept, the way that he struggled in game 4, in the closeout game when his team needed him to step up. This is one that's going to stick with him for the entirety of his career. So take that. Joe Lozzi says, it was so bad I was yelling at Miami to hit the open man. I mean, I felt bad. I felt bad at times. And, you know, that doesn't often happen, where Cleveland is just absolutely destroying an opponent. And I'm like, man, just can he maybe, you know, take it easy? But I can't even be upset because they asked for it. They truly did. Jim Barney says 2 of our Pacers losses were when we had nothing to play for. Yeah, I mean, you take the 3-1 record that they had against Cleveland this year with a grain of salt, but we can't lie, at least one of those victories were the result of them actually getting under Cleveland's skin and really beating Cleveland, right? The full court press and Cleveland's carelessness with the basketball and their inability to shoot were key components of those losses, or of that loss rather. So, you know, take it for what you will. But yeah, I still believe that Cleveland ends up beating Indiana, but it should be a much, much more difficult series. Philly Bennett, who says, let's go Cavs. I think we have a really good chance against Indiana. I predict Cavs victory 3-1. I'm assuming you mean gentleman's sweep. But yeah, I mean, 5-6 games, I think that's probably the extent of an Indiana series. Again, I do not believe that they will sweep Indiana. I did not believe that they would sweep Miami. So who knows? I could be wrong again. So we'll see. I do not anticipate that being the case. I think Indiana will present a much more difficult task than Miami did. But man, we'll see. We'll see. Provided number 1 says, but why Bam had towel face in the entire 4th quarter? Because he was suppressed, man. They got obliterated by 55 points. I'd be sitting there. I'd probably be crying. I mean, that was a beatdown. That was a beatdown. And, you know, after the comments that were made by Tyler Herro saying, oh, we need Jimmy Butler. We need Jimmy Butler to win. That probably could not have sat right with some of the guys on that roster. I mean, if I'm Eric Spoelstra, if I'm Pat Riley, I'm certainly not happy about those comments that Tyler Herro made, and I would be mad too. D Jackson says, Mac, do you honestly think we can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals? Give me your personal opinion. I do. I think that you look at the landscape of the Eastern Conference, you have essentially 2 opponents that should at very least worry the Cavaliers a little bit. One, it's Indiana, obviously in round 2. You never want to believe that a series win is a given. And they will present the Cavaliers a much different task in defeating than the Miami Heat did. And obviously the other is the Boston Celtics. After Boston beat Orlando in game 4, I really I conceded that they will likely win that series. I thought Orlando probably would have made it last a little longer, but I think they end up getting eliminated in their next game. That's where I'm at. But at least they took some bruises. At least they took some bumps. At least the physicality was there in that series. Now, on the other end of that bracket, they'll have likely the New York Knicks waiting on them. So we shall see what ends up happening on that end of the bracket for the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. But yeah, I think they'll be there. And if you were asking if they will make it to the finals rather than just the Eastern Conference finals, yes, I truly believe they will. I think Cleveland is uniquely suited to beat Boston in a 7-game series. We have seen them go out there and defeat Boston. Yes, it has taken a Herculean effort at times. It has taken everybody executing on all cylinders, and it has taken a hellacious defensive effort from Dean Wade, from DeAndre Hunter, from Isaac Okoro. It's taken Sam Merrill being a productive player off the bench. It's taken Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland executing. It's taken basically a collective effort for Cleveland to defeat Boston. But I think that they are uniquely equipped to beat the Boston Celtics in a 7-game series, assuming Boston makes it that far. So yes, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that Cleveland will beat Boston. I think it will take all 7 games, though. What you have seen from this Cleveland team against Miami, don't go into a Boston series, a potential Boston series, expecting that to be the case. It will not be nearly that easy. Hell, it won't be that easy against the Indiana Pacers. It just won't. But yes, I believe that they end up being the Eastern Conference's representative in the NBA Finals. Duque Helper says, Mac, will you be doing post-game live streams for all games in the next series? Always do. If in case anybody here has not been a subscriber for the entirety of the season, I have not missed one game yet. I have been live every single game. I do not anticipate that changing for the entirety of this playoff run, however long it lasts. But yeah, I'll be here, man. I will definitely be here. G Jackson says, do you think Boston versus Cavs goes to 7 games? Yeah, I think I just answered that. 7 games, no less, in my opinion. I think Boston is still that good. But I do believe they will ultimately defeat Boston in a 7-game series. But we'll have to see. I'm I'm really, really, really high on this team. Jordan React says, hey, Mac, did you know the stat that in the Eastern Conference is 2019-20, the team that beat the Heat has made the finals? Crazy stat. That is crazy. No, I did not know that. So thank you for pointing that out to both me and the chat. Just has not been a fun go of it lately for the Miami Heat. And, they had a good solid run, right? But I think they're going to look to start tearing things down, or at the very least make some key changes during this offseason, whether that be going after a big time free agent or making some type of trade. But we'll have to see what they end up doing. After getting slacked the way that they did tonight, you can't have a good taste in your mouth if you are Pat Riley and company. You have to be in the mindset of trying to get better. Duque Helper says, Mac, after G Jackson says, do you ever interview any players, Mac? Now, I am not a media member. Keep that in mind. But have I done episodes with players? Yes. I had one with George Niang. I've had one with Kay Felder. I've had one with CJ Miles. And I got some more in the works. But no, I don't typically do player interviews. I'll have an episode with one of them as my guest. I guess you can call that an interview, but I'm not a media member. I don't have a media pass. I'm just a fan like you guys. But I've been lucky enough to connect with a good number of people and speak to a good number of players. And hopefully, if you guys haven't checked out those episodes, go back in the catalog and check them out, because the one with George was pretty funny. The one with Kay Felder was very, very eye-opening, and the one with CJ Miles from a year or two ago, that was definitely one to watch. That was back when Corey was still on the pod. But yeah, I have some more plans. Well, I have some more in the in the chamber. Duque Hooper asks, any interest with collab with Quincy Carey? I have reached out to Quincy. I do believe that we are going to set something up, but yeah, there's just, if you are a fan of this team, there is no deficit. There is no deficit of content creators, podcasters, media content. There are so many out there, whether that be Locked On, whether that be Chase Down, whether that be Tony Pesta, and, the Junkyard Pod and those guys over there, whether that be Quincy. There's just so many. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody across the Cavs. There are just so many. How can I forget my guy Mikey McNuggets and Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Ultimate Cavaliers? There are so many different types of content being produced in regards to covering this team, myself included. So anybody wanting to listen about people yap about this team, there's no shortage. D Jackson says Kay Felders, he played with the Cavs. Huh? Yeah. If you guys don't remember, Kay Felder played with the Cavaliers. He was drafted by the Cavaliers in the second round and played with them during 2016. Tonio22 says that'd be cool. That collab, let them fucking know. Yeah, man, this is just what an amazing season. What an amazing season. And they have a chance to cap it all off with the title. Let's hope that this is just a first step in getting there. 4 of 16, 12 more victories. That's all they need. 12 more victories. Sleep on that. As always, tell you guys, if you'd like to reach out to me, you can. It's Cavalier_pod on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and more. If you'd like to be added to the It's Cavalier Discord chat, you know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a review. Send a screenshot of said review to itscavalier53@gmail.com, and I will send you said invite. If you want to support the pod in a small but helpful way, consider becoming a member over on Patreon. You can do so for as little as $1 a month. That will give you access to entire pieces of content early. It will give you member shout outs. It will give you extra content. It will give you the Discord chat. But yes, if you want to support the pod, go over there and click that link. It should be in the description. Have a good night. Go Cavs.